I never signed a really huge pub deal. I kind of stayed in my means because you don't want to take a bunch of money because you don't want to be stuck in a deal. You want to be able to take a moderate amount you need. The thing is to recoup as fast as possible, because what that does is it looks good when you try to go for another deal. You take the money, you recoup, then you take some more money, then you recoup, and then eventually get out of your deal. Then, people see you got a good track record. They'll have one big record, take all this money and don't recoup. And now you're stuck in a situation because the fire done burnt out. Went through your funds.
Calling back, got some keys.
We back with another episode of the Producer Royalty Podcast, and we're here today with Bobby Kritical.
What's good? What's good,
How you doing,
y'all,
bro?
man?
Thank you for pulling up today.
Yeah, man. Had to, man.
Yeah.
I reached out and I fuck with the platform.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, I'm excited for this one for sure. Like, it's very rare to hear perspective from somebody like you who's had like a great amount of experience, like touched the top in so many different ways. So
I appreciate that.
To start with, what is one thing that you wish you would have known when you were first starting that you now know? Maybe something you had to learn the hard way.
Just knowing a little more about the business aspect of it, because we come in with all these aspirations. As creatives, we look at it on the fun side. Just making the music and just hanging out with your friends and coming up with dope shit. You know what I mean? So just going into it is like, oh, you didn't know that you need a BMI or an ASCAP. You didn't know that you had to sign up for Sound Exchange or this, that, and the third to collect money. Or you didn't know that you need a lawyer or like somebody like a manager to help facilitate your business. You know what I'm saying? You don't know all that stuff until you actually get in, and it's like, wait, I haven't got paid for this. This song been out for like 6-7 months. Yeah. The artist look like he making so much money. Why? How come I ain't seen none of it yet? You don't know that just jumping into the game. I wish I would have, did a little more research early on, but it's better late than never.
For sure. Was there somebody that came into your life that in some way, whether it was a manager or a lawyer, that was like, all right, bro, like these are the things that you should do, or make sure that is, your T's are crossed and I's are dotted? Or was it like you just had to learn a lot of hard lessons?
But like my first introduction into understanding the business aspect was my uncle, RIP. He passed back in 2018, but early on, he I played him some of my stuff. He actually was a part of an independent record label, small label back in the day, and so he kind of had an idea of like how this stuff go. His technique was a little more older, but I kind of got the gist of it. He was just like, I can manage you. First things first, you need a lawyer. I can introduce you to somebody. And it's funny because the lady he introduced me to just became my lawyer like last year.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like,
if you don't mind saying,
Bernie
right,
Walker.
for sure.
So like he said her name back in the day.
Yeah.
But then it was like I couldn't afford her. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just starting out. It's funny enough that I was like, her name sounds familiar. Like somebody introduced me to her.
Yeah,
like,
she represents a lot of the biggest producers.
Yeah,
up here, bro.
exactly. But like somebody introduced me to her last year, and I was like, I asked her, I was like, do you know Anthony? And like her eyes lit up. Like I was like, that's my uncle. Like she was like, for real? Like, you know what I'm saying? But it was, but he early on told me like, oh, you need a manager, you need a lawyer, you need XYZ. So that was my early like most like that I can remember is like my introduction into understanding what I need as far as like being in the music business.
Anybody that maybe it was a producer or somebody else in the game that was also took kind of like a mentor role for you?
Oh, Don Cannon, for sure. Many mentors for sure, but like ultimately Don Cannon, because like he has the ideal like career that I would like to follow. He's humble, down to earth, but at the same time he get the work done.
What's something that you learned from Don Cannon? Good lesson.
Man, it's so many, bro. Like it's like he's more so like you have to be there like on the spot. Like, I can't remember like off the top of my dome, but like he's always like recommending books or like, he gives a lot of game as far as like creativity too wise, you know what I'm saying? Like ultimately just be yourself, you know what I'm saying? Just be yourself, you know what I mean? And and do your own thing and don't try to do what everybody else doing type shit.
Yeah. Nah, shout out Don Cannon, bro. I'm excited to. He said he was down to be on the podcast, but we didn't make it happen this time. So I'm looking forward to doing another one. Yeah, I love the platform. It's TMR, right? TMR Network.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, that's how you say it?
TRMO.
Tomorrow Network. Yeah, you just did one with them, right? Yeah. Producer Culture partnered with them for like the more creative side, and like we're more focused on the business side of conversations for sure.
Yep.
That's gonna be dope. When it came to like, what was your first like big hit?
My first big hit was "Do It" with Michael Montana and K Camp.
When was that?
That was we did the song in like 2010, 2011, but the song didn't pop until like 2012.
Yeah. When that hit happened, did your life kind of change in a way? Was it like you were really introduced to a lot of new things? You saw a different side of the industry. People were reaching out to you in a certain way?
Actually, yes. It was like I had a manager early on, but we was like kind of trying to figure it out. And we went to a video shoot, and it was kind of like his like first introduction into really having to like manage and do certain things.
Yeah, you're like feeling it out. You weren't really sure what the role was.
Cameos and stuff like that, little stuff like that. But for the most part, we was just out, just like messing with like the local guys from like his hometown, and like we would just get bread like that. But then like when like the "Do It" song came out, and my boy had got a deal off of it, and now you got Universal like just jumping in. So you pulling up to the video shoot, you got tour bus, all kind of crazy shit going on. So he just had to make sure I was good and make sure I was getting the credit I deserved and stuff like that.
Yeah, did you have a bunch of publishers reaching out, managers reaching out, all that type of stuff?
That didn't come along. The publisher part didn't come along until my next like biggest record, which was like it was a Uzi record. That's when people really start like reaching out, like hey, I got this for you, I got that for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what were some of the things? If somebody's gonna get a hit record, is there anything that you think that you want to warn them of or tell them about now that's gonna be happening?
All right, so look, before you even feel like you got a big record on your hands, just have your business together. Have you a dope lawyer, somebody that looks out for your best interests. And if you need a manager, 9 times out of 10 starting out, you would make sure they got your best interests at heart. They ain't even got to be professionals. They just got to be able to try to get you in doors that you can't even get yourself in, or put you in spaces that you can't put yourself in. It can be your best friend. Your best friend can have your best interests at heart. As long as he's dedicated enough to learn the business, to take care of you, you don't need nothing else. But like just early on, if you can, try to have if you're going to put your team together, at least try to have those two like top 5 for sure. Like, you know what I'm saying?
How'd you approach the publishing conversations when those things started happening? Did you sign like a big pub deal right away? Did you wait a little bit?
No. First off, I never signed a really huge pub deal. I kind of stayed in my means because my manager now, when we first started shopping deals, he was just like, this is what you need to do. You don't want to take a bunch of money because you don't want to be stuck in the deal. You want to be able to take a moderate amount you need, or you feel like you need in your head. You put the number in your head and you go with that number and you thug it out. And the thing is to recoup as fast as possible, because what that does is it looks good for when you try to go for another deal. You know what I mean? So like you take the money, you recoup, then you take some more money, then you recoup, and then, eventually get out of your deal. And then, people see you got a good track record.
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting suggestion. Like have a number in your head and really stick with that. That's what you said.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense for guys who had all right, so I'm working with this guy 8 in London, who's just very like he's getting constant placements all the time, and it's obvious that he's going to be the next guy over there. It's not one hit record. So when at that point when you were having those conversations, was it like constant placements all the time, or was it like you had 1-2 big songs?
It wasn't even that. It was like I had placements here, there, but it was enough to get me through my deal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then because I done seen people take, they'll have one big record, take all this money and don't recoup, and now you're stuck in a situation because the fire done burnt out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't went through your funds. Financial literacy is key too as well, y'all. So
yeah,
you get a bunch of money, and you know how it is. Everybody do it with their first deal. You mess it up. Luckily, I ain't do a deal. I actually didn't do a deal till like later on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did my first deal in
What's
like
later on?
2017.
So that I was like 7 years after your first pretty big hit.
About
you would
5
say?
years after my first big hit. But
Yeah.
like I had been in the industry since like 2010.
Uh-huh.
But I caught my first major placement in 2010. I caught my first hit in 2012.
Okay.
And then I didn't do a pub deal until 2017.
Do you think you made the right decision signing when you did and signing the deal that you had?
I think I could have signed on earlier. I think like I said, my first manager, we was trying to figure it out, and I think we kind of skipped some steps, but I think ultimately I could have did something early on if we kind of knew what we were doing.
You said, so you wish you would have earlier because like we always tell people that are looking for pub deals, there is a little bit of a sweet spot if you're somebody that, you know, if you have great relationships like you do now, then I don't know if there's a sweet spot because like you don't know when the big hit is going to be. But like,
so for me back then at that time, I didn't have as many relationships. I felt like if I would have done a situation earlier, I would have started building my relationships early on. But you know, it's better late than never. Like,
yeah,
you know, timing is everything.
Yeah. So to finish my thought, I think it's really interesting, the sweet spot conversation, because you know, as like a loop maker, if you're kind of more so really taking shots in the dark, like you don't know if anything's gonna wind up, you know, getting placed. So like with you, you have a lot of your biggest records you produce by yourself, right? Like, maybe like one other, like you have someone Honorable C-No, right? But it's like, what's your typical workflow for, you know, coming up with, especially with the bigger songs? Like, how do those come about?
I mean, really, it wasn't really no formula when it came to like early on. It was just me making beats.
Is there a trend? Like, I was in this situation, I sent to this person, I did this.
Okay, so like, I'll use Vert. That's the most memorable to me. Like, so I used to have a studio like downtown. One of my managers early on, Ike Dirty, he had a studio downtown, and I used to be in there cooking up. And I met this guy named Pat. Pat used to work for Drummer back in the day, and he wanted to bring. Fast forward. I mean, backtrack. I met this artist through K Camp called Naya Supreme. I met and we linked up, and she wanted to work. She was in town, so she pulled up on me. She pulled up on me with Pat. So me and Pat, we done had a couple interactions. Like we met each other in passing XYZ, and I knew who he was, like, you know, because he worked for Drummer. And so I was playing all these records for her, and he was like, "Man, I didn't know you did all that." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I heard your name before, but I didn't know you did. I didn't know you was so like versatile. And I was like, "Yeah, appreciate it." You know what I'm saying? Like. And he's like, "Man, I want to bring you to Mean Street." He's like, "Man, we got a bunch of up and coming artists. Up and coming artists." But he was like, "I want to introduce you to Uzi." And I was like, "Bet." So when I got there, like TM was there and my dog Plug was there, and he playing these records, and I'm like, "Oh, he my type of artist, like." He don't care.
Uzi?
Yeah. He my type of artist. He don't care. He gonna rap on whatever. Like, he trying shit. And at the time, like, we was trying to figure out our sound. Like, you know what I'm saying? And me and Plug, we was trying to figure out our sound. That's when we came up with the Flex God sound. It was like we basically took all our favorite producers in one and just, you know, just made magic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Made some old crazy shit. But like, people were scared of those beats.
Scared of them?
Yeah. So when Vert will rap on them, and he like, these shit sound crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? But it was like he fit them so because of his personality and our personality, like it just meshed, like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Those are some like my most memorable moments, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What was so after you met him that time, you just, you know, there was just a natural synergy between you guys? You were still making constant music like after that, right?
Yeah.
Was it a lot of sending or a lot of in the studio with them, or a little bit of both?
In the beginning, it was a lot of just in the studio.
Yeah.
Because he was there every day. So we just pull up.
Where was that? In Atlanta or in Philly?
Main Street.
Where's that?
Main Street. Main Street is Midtown.
Oh yeah, in Atlanta. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not from over here, so I don't know.
Oh yeah. You ever been down here?
I've been here one time to shoot the podcast, and I was just shooting the podcast.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
that's all I did, bro. So yeah, it's only my second time. But anyways, yeah. So What is there any other type of through line between your other situations that were not with Vert? Whether that was a certain feeling that you had, or maybe a certain person that got
Camp.
Camp.
Camp is who I had my best relationship with because we started out together. And we just cool, we all just kick it, lay back, chill, cool.
It was one of those relationships that like you really, because all the young producers we bring on here that have a bit of sense, they all say, which is all of them, they all say, I'm not placement tracing. I'm trying to find the new artists and grow with them and like really develop with them. Because that's what you had. That
actually works because it's like, yeah, that's the relationship I had. But if you look time and time, if you look at all the hit makers and they stuck with one person and they came up with one person. You know what I'm saying? So that's why producers are saying that, because it's the best formula. Only time the formula doesn't work is when like the artists lose their way and shy away from who they came up with as far as the music. You know what I'm saying? As far as the business and stuff, you can, that's understandable. But as far as the music, people shy away from, where it came from. Y'all don't, you're not growing with this producer no more. Y'all kind of just falling off. Yeah. So that's why producers be like, oh, I'd rather come up with somebody. And then it's another thing is it's a million artists that come out every week. What you look like trying to chase everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Do it. Like work the move. You know what I'm saying? Work the move, like send out beats and do what you got to do. But at the same time, hone in on your own craft and come up with something significant and different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. With so what was with the really big hits, like, is there, what would you say your biggest song is?
Sanguine Paradise.
Yeah. That one was great. That leaked first, right? Before it came out?
Yeah.
That was an
like even
one.
Those moments, like it was a point in time, like I hadn't seen Uzi in a while. Like he's out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like,
it was one that you sent off?
That particular record, I didn't even like, I was sampled.
Okay, word.
I was sampled, so they basically remade "Do It."
Really?
Yeah.
How's the business on a situation like that usually? You don't necessarily have to talk about that situation.
I mean, but like how it is. Like it's a license. You know what I'm saying? So they're, how can you say? They're basically like using your craft, like, you know what I'm saying? Sampling you. It's like sampling.
So they sampled something that you made and then.
See, it wasn't even a sample, it was an interpolation, but the interpolation was so much like the original beat, you might as well just say.
So you sent the beat and it was the original beat and then they liked this and they remade it?
No. Somebody remade "Do It."
Oh, that original song that you made. Yeah,
somebody remade "Do It," but I get a good significant amount of that record because it was a exact interpolation of what I did.
Yeah, those are really interesting situations to deal with, because it's like there's oftentimes like people will reach out to a lawyer, like they reach out to somebody like me and like ask me. I'm dealing with this one situation where like this producer came in and like with a really big artist that just is dropping next week, came in and like tore up a bunch of records that like were already made, like ready to be studio released. And the artist got in the studio with the producer and the producer's like, yo, this beat could be a lot more like this. Like, let's remake the entire thing. So it's like they took out everything that the original producer did and remade it. Oh yeah. But like the song was already made when this producer came in. So even though now none of this original producer's contribution is in it, that copyright they created initially, even though it wasn't released, it's still the producer's. Like he owns the lyrics as much as.
I think you're supposed to collect on that too as well.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get a percentage of the song because it's a I forgot how to word it, but basically like it was the idea that initiated the next record.
Yeah. Yep. It was the idea that initiated it. And in that situation, it was like the record was originally created. So like when the producer and the artist come together, they make a song. It's not like the artist owns the lyrics and the producer owns the beat. They own that collectively. Like you made that together. So then this guy came in and he made a new beat, but it's still the same lyrics. So it's like that original guy, like he hasn't reached, like now the artist is paying the producer, the new producer. But now the new producer is asking me, like, all right, well, with that, are they going to come asking me for money later on? I mean, and it's like, they definitely could.
I can vouch for that because that actually happened to me. So
that which side were you on, or were you on the one that?
I was on the side where my music was recreated.
Yeah,
and it got to the point I did a session with an artist. That session was took and the beat was recreated. But my relationships are so good with the producers. They was like, hey man, like this what happened.
Before the song came out. So
yeah.
they actually did
It's
it.
like, this what happened. I want to give you a percentage of the record. And I was like, you don't got to, but I'm a humble dude. Like, I don't be tripping about none of that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't be tripping about none of that shit, man. I feel like my blessing gonna come regardless.
Yeah.
I've always felt like that. But like, he was just like, hey man, like, I feel bad. Like, I wanna cut you in on it. And that's we like two of the same. So like, that was him just feeling like he needed to do the right thing. He didn't have to, because I fuck with bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? But he didn't even have to. Like, he couldn't have told me. I would have heard it later, but like,
you wouldn't.
I wouldn't trip.
Yeah, you wouldn't like,
because it ain't the first time. That ain't the first time. Like, that shit used to happen to me early on too. But it was like, you know, you don't know no better. Like, so you just gonna let it rock.
Yeah.
But he was just like, man, I want to give you a percentage of the record. I was just like, all right, cool, I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's solid dude. You know what I'm saying?
And have you ever, when it comes to on the business side, have you ever fumbled a relationship by, you know, asking for too much, or maybe you wish you would have done something differently when it comes to negotiating?
When it comes to business, like, you gotta, like, that doesn't happen I countless number of times, but it's like, at the end of the day, like, why would you settle for less? You know what I'm saying? Like, your price is your price, your brand is your brand. They're gonna go somewhere else and pay whatever. They're gonna pay for Louis, Gucci. We talk. It's a never ending story. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're gonna pay for the brand. But at the same time, when you're in the middle of building your brand, you got to stand on your business. So it's like, if they not willing to pay that, if they willing to cut ties because you trying to handle business, then so be it.
Yeah. So you like to stand firm on a certain price.
You have to be. You have to, because otherwise, when you do get to a certain level, they're gonna be like, well, you charged me this last time. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
No, I don't. What Fat Joe say? Today's price is not yesterday's price, not today's price. Like, yeah, that's a thing. Like, people can't hold you to what you was. Like, they got to hold you to who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't let people play with you, bro.
I love hearing you say this, bro, because like, I really do appreciate the perspective of a lot of people who are a little bit more on the, you know, not where you are now, where it's like you have years and years worth of catalog. It's like when you're first getting started, it's like, and you have a couple big size placements, but not a consistent track record. Yeah. Like the other people who have been in this platform really emphasize the importance of the relationship. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that comes way before standing on the price. But when you reach your level, a different type of conversation, right?
No, even at my level, the relationships are still important. The relationships are always going to be important. That was another thing I was going to say. Like, if you up and coming, just play the game. So it has to make sense to you. So if it makes sense to be like, hey, you don't have to give me anything, just make sure I'm good on the back end, I'm cool with that.
How will you approach that?
I do that now.
How will you approach that? What will you ask for specifically? Couple extra points on the master,
more than just a couple, because if you're not going to advance me, technically it's still my record. I mean, it's still my beat, so I'm entitled to whatever really have, for real. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you're gonna play the game. If you know this is somebody that's promising, if you know this is somebody that's gonna keep coming back to you, you know, you can be lenient. But if you know somebody that's like bad with business, or like somebody you know you ain't gonna probably work with, or like they, you know what I'm saying, they some assholes or whatever, like, nah, just stand on your business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got good, genuine people in the industry still. You know what I'm saying? So like, for me, like, I don't be busting people over the head, but I know who to charge, because I know, like, oh, this song, it's just on a deluxe. It ain't gonna do nothing. Or it's gonna be like, oh, he cool, but this song all right. Like, I know it ain't gonna stream much, so I might as well get my money up front.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So are you very firm on like, I charge X thousand for my beats? Yeah. And that's, so you say that, and then like, if a lawyer says we have 5,000 in the budget,
then we renegotiate the terms on the back end.
Okay.
You always renegotiate the terms on the back end. If the front end not what it needs to be, you need to renegotiate your terms on the back end.
Let's say I'm gonna use low numbers just to separate you from it entirely. Let's say 5,000 is what you usually charge, and they're offering 2,500. Or let's say 3,000. It's like, that's different. That's not what I'm worth. So it's like, will you ask for an extra 2 points on the master? Like, will you ask for a lot more on the master? You know what I mean?
It just depends. I know. Normally, like a signed artist, they make it 20 points it's an 80-20 split. Label get 80, they get 20. So they only got 20 points to split between the creators of the record. Yep. You know what I'm saying? If there's room to, I know the standard is anywhere from 3 if you somebody with some type of like name, you can get 5, 4,
Yeah.
7. It just depends.
You've seen 7 with like a major artist that's like probably got like 16.
I've seen.
Of course, if you're Metro, I don't know what he's getting. But I'm assuming half. I don't know.
I haven't seen 7. I've seen 5s.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen 4s. Independent, I've seen 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What do you ask for if it's like an independent? Let's say it's a song that's you think's gonna do.
Depends on how independent you are, though.
Let's say Empire. Well, that varies so much too. Truly independent. Like, let's say truly independent, but 100%. You're just 100% independent, and like you think it's gonna get 10 million streams for some reason. Well, what percentage will you ask?
Shit, if you're not paying me, I want to see all of it.
Yeah,
I want to see half.
But if they're giving you your normal price, let's say they're giving you your normal price as an advance, but they're independent, so they have way more points to give you.
But at the same time, they also gave me my fee.
Yeah,
yeah. You have to count that into play. So it's like, if you're giving me my standard fee, we can do the standard however you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I may go for 5. I may go for 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I may go for 10. It just depends.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But you know, if they giving you X amount of dollars up front, your fee can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You'll normally do like a standard agreement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they still got to make their money back. They need a return on their interest. So it's like, you can't really like just go super
eat
crazy
it up
on them.
For
now,
sure.
if I ain't take shit,
then that is what it is. Yeah.
It is what it is. Especially if you're 100%er. We both eating. We eating good.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like if you just, you know, if I ask for a fee, then yeah, we do the standard agreement, like as if you would with a major.
Yeah, one thing Adam Friedman, when I used to work with him, it's like some producers he would work with would get a little bit, or I'm gonna rephrase that because I don't want to put his name on there. Let's say I'm taking that out. One thing that a lot of producers fear of is, you know, if I come asking for a certain number, that'll get back to the artist and they will not want to work with me at all. One thing that one of my mentors told me was like, yo, like a mentor lawyer was like, this isn't going to get to the artist most likely. Like most likely it'll just be their manager / lawyer debating with your legal. People would tell him all the time, like, your client's going to get blackballed for asking for this. And he'd be like, bro, I've never seen it happen. You know what I mean? Would you say in your experience, like, do you think that those business conversations usually do get to the artist, or is it more so like their team is handling it? You know what I mean?
I think the team is handling it for their artist's best interest. They trying to like budget as much as they can, but at the same time, it's y'all bullying.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's like y'all bullying the producer, intimidating the producer, so that y'all can get the rate y'all want. Because in y'all mind, y'all have a set number that y'all want to spend in order to save money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it. It's a business, but it's like, shit, if the artist, if the producer charging that, the producer charging that. Or if it's a case where it's like, hey, we trying to stay in this budget. If you just keep it being transparent, like, you know what I'm saying? We trying to stay within this budget, and it's like, all right, cool. All right, well, can y'all do this on the back end? Can y'all do this, or can y'all do that? XYZ, like, that's the conversation that need to be had.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers be trying to like, you'll never be able to work with this artist again, or XYZ, and it's just like, okay, like, y'all do bad business. Why would I want to work with y'all again? Y'all fucking up his reputation. For
sure. Do you ever have in situations, I'm sure there's definitely situations that every producer does, like issues getting paid your advances? Like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah. How do you deal with those situations?
Wait till the lawyers figure it out. You know what I'm saying? If they take too long, do what you gotta do. Issue takedowns, whatever you gotta do. I done had to do it before.
Yeah? With major releases too?
Majors, minor, whatever.
Yeah.
My thing is like, just handle the business. It's so simple. Like, just handle the business. Life is easy. We make it complicated by trying to do weird shit.
How long would you say you give it to after the song releases? I'm sure. What percentage of the time would you say you get paid before the song releases?
Percentage? Yeah. It's very slim.
Right?
It's very slim.
Yeah, probably less than
what I can
20,
say is,
I would say. In my experience, is like less than 20.
Less than 20 for sure.
Yeah.
Less than 20 for sure. But because it's like,
it's got to be like a really pre-planned album. Like, this is like the album they've been working for a while. They put a lot of thought into it. They're trying to clear it like ahead of time.
But it's also been situations where I got paid before the paperwork is done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just depends on who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Most labels, majority of the time, won't pay you until the music is probably burnt out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But you do have certain I want to say the people that do kind of handle business beforehand are indie labels.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's interesting.
Like a Monarch or something like that. Like they do good business.
I never worked with Monarch.
Yeah,
I work with it's interesting because the indie distributors, like a lot of times they don't own the master. They're just getting the license. They're getting the song licensed to them, like rather than owning it. So it's like they often indemnify themselves from having any liability if they don't clear the song properly. So it's like they're like, oh, it's on the artist to clear the beat. It's not our problem, right? So like in my experience, it's kind of been the opposite. Like the indie distributors, at least that aren't owning the master, they oftentimes take they usually don't clear it.
And a lot of times it don't like I said,
usually,
it's never the artist. It's never the artist's fault neither. They may be going through changes in their team. They might be getting new lawyers, or they might have to fire somebody. Somebody was probably doing, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot goes into play when it comes to shit like that. Like for instance, the longest I waited 5 years one time to get paid for it.
For real? In advance? Yeah. Damn. what made it get pushed through at that point 5 years later?
I told you.
Yeah. Took the song down? Took the song down?
No. I didn't take the song down.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that artist was going through a lot of business changes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you touring, you still working on music. You still trying to figure it out. You think you got a good lawyer, you got to fire, and that lawyer got to come on and pick up the slack. And you know what I'm saying? It just takes a while. But I got paid. You know what I'm saying? I don't wait a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like it just depends. Like, it's like getting into a car accident, right? Like, and the lawyers gotta chop it up with the big companies, and you know what I'm saying? It just take a while. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just depends. Oregon happened
for sure
within 30 days, 40 days. It just depends. Like,
it's like a day.
Depends on the type of people you're dealing with.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a day in the music industry is like a week in like other industries. A week is a month is a year type shit. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, bro. Yeah, for sure. The amount of times we have to follow up, it's just like, hello, following up here, any updates, just all the time. I'm sure you see that on your side too. But that's how you get things done. Like that's what you kind of have to do on that side, right? Yeah,
for sure.
Is there anything that you do to kind of manage all the placements and royalties that you get like for yourself? You know what I mean? Because on the publishing side, right, you dish it off to the publisher. Are you published at this point? I see. You're in your admin deal?
I'm done. I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much a free agent in a couple months.
Oh, really?
I'm done with my deal, but like they're still collecting on my behalf to like for a couple more months.
Yeah, are you in like a big retention period? Like did that because a lot of people, they don't realize when they sign a big co-pub deal, it's like you sign this big co-pub deal and it's like you're getting all this money up front for this song, and then once that recoups and then you're ready to go to the next deal, there's usually a big retention period. So it'll be like 5, 10 years, 15 years, and the next new publisher can't use those songs.
Can't use them at all.
Yeah, because like,
that's not my case though.
Yeah, that's not your case?
No, that's not my case. They just collect their little, you know what I'm saying, percentage until May.
Got awesome. So, and then at that point you're a free agent.
Don't get me wrong, it was a dope company. That's why I stayed with them so long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out Ultra, shout out Patrick, my manager Kenny, like, you know what I'm saying?
Dope.
It wasn't, like I said, Kenny, my manager now, he been my manager for like 10 years, but like when we first started doing the deals, he didn't, he didn't want to go for a big number. And it was he was like, we go for this, you recoup this, and you know what I'm saying? We just get more money, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So it made it to where it was smooth. Like the exit is smooth.
Yeah.
It's not, I ain't know I still owed this, and I ain't know I still owed that. And it's like a lot of these folks get in these deals and they start tripping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you realizing like, oh shit, they want more than they gave me, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it was pretty smooth. Yeah,
some people say that like signing a big co-pub deal is kind of like betting against yourself in a way, because you're kind of hoping that this is you're trying to, you get all this money up front, and maybe they gave you more than what you're worth.
It's a bank loan with crazy interest rates.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, you consider it a loan?
It's definitely a loan. You got to pay it back.
Yeah, I think it's more.
ridiculous interest.
Yeah, like 125, 115% like type shit. Yeah. So it's just I go back and forth on whether I feel like it's a loan because the advance from a placement is to me not like a loan at all. Because that you don't have to pay back. There's no if you don't.
It's an advance, yeah. It's an advance on your royalties though.
Yeah, it's an advance on royalties. You have to recoup it before you get more royalties, but like with a pub deal, like your rights are limited. If this doesn't recoup, then you can't. So that's what makes it like a loan to me. But an advance from a placement, it's like you get all this money up front, and if you don't pay it back, then nothing happens to you. Like
pretty much,
like the ideal situation.
But they still you don't see any back end, of course, because it's an advance. You know what I'm saying? But up until you recoup, that's when you start seeing some back end. But it's like
Do you have any issues collecting your back end royalties from on the master side from the label?
No. Mm-mm.
How do you get set up with them? Like, what's your?
They do the whole like, vendor and all that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, your team is your lawyer is proactive with that, like making sure. Yeah.
I get my checks every 6 months. We good.
Word. Yeah, bro. That's like the biggest hole in the market that like I've really noticed is just like, bro, like there's so many producers like your size that we have that are just they're not collecting them and they don't even know that they're owed them and that they exist them because you're not owed them on most songs.
Some records, but it's like they small records.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. I ain't really gonna see nothing from them. And outside of that, I took the big advance. So it's like,
exactly.
I'm good. Like, you know what I mean?
You got a big advance, so it's very unlikely. Like we say that, if you're a smaller producer, but you have a song with like 20 million streams, let's say you got like a $2,500, $5,000 advance, then it's probably recouped if you have but like you probably getting way bigger advances, so it takes a lot more to recoup that. So it's it makes a lot of sense for sure. Is there anything you do to like keep track of your advances and royalties at all? Like, do you have like I
do spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets, yeah, yeah. What do you put on the spreadsheets?
I just label name, song, percentage.
Yeah.
Paid, unpaid, paid. That's how I keep track of everything.
Yep. Yeah, we have that too. We have like I call it like a checklist. It's like has the name of the song.
Excel.
What you said?
I said Excel.
Yeah, Excel, Google Sheets. Yeah. So we make that for all our clients. Like we have whether the advance was received, make sure you're collecting sound exchange royalties, make sure your publisher has the info that they need to collect on the publishing side because a lot of times they need the FE. So FE agreement sent to the publisher, and then what else we put in there? Yeah, put a couple other things.
You would have asked me this 10 years ago. I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's I knew that you would have an answer for it, bro. That's amazing. They need it. Like that's something that's just not. I've never heard this talked about on a podcast, but it's very important to keep it tracked in like some type of Excel sheet like that.
You gotta keep your stuff in line and check. Like I said, we out here having fun, being creative. It's all good to that business kick in, and you be like, where the hell my money at? You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, this is a very. I know you got a session to run to, so I appreciate you so much, Bobby. Thank you for the podcast,
you, brother. Thank you,
sure. Appreciate y'all,
yes, sir.